So I'm grateful to be here and welcome to all of you. And today we will be discussing about broadly spirituality in the age of technology, that reels, AI and realization. So I'll talk about this. I'll be writing and drawing something. Is this visible to you over here? So I'll be talking in three broad points: what, why, and how. So what, why, and how. So what is it that we're discussing? We're discussing about technology and spirituality. That's the broad topic we are discussing. So just a few months ago, I was in UK. I had been to Cambridge. And there on the streets of Cambridge, I saw that there are robots which just glide along the roads. And the robots run errands. So for example, if you order something from a shop, like now we have Blinkit which delivers things. So there are robots which deliver things. So they're small robots. And in many ways, the way technology is advancing today, it's extraordinary. And technology brings speed, it brings efficiency, it brings accessibility. So technology has been advancing rapidly over the last, you could say, last 200 years, there's more technological advance in the last 2000 years. Last 20 years, there's been more technological advancement than the last 200 years. So we are in an age of super accelerated technological advancement. We had the internet around the turn of the century. Then we had social media. So internet brought access to information. Social media promised us connectivity with people. And then now AI has come up. And AI is promising convenience. That many of the things that require a lot of effort to do, we can do them faster. So the rate at which things are moving forward is remarkable. And yet, there is a striking problem that has come up. And that problem, the problems associated with technology, they can be described in broadly three ways. One is distraction. The second is comparison. And in between is isolation. So, can use this as a DIC. That distraction, what is happening? These are broad categories of problems that are coming. Distraction is that we are finding it difficult to focus on what we are doing. Now, it is not necessarily because we are becoming less intelligent. It is because technology is offering us so much stimulation that real life starts appearing boring. So distraction happens because we are so overstimulated. It's like somebody eats extremely spicy food. And then if they get some naturally occurring apple, so the apple is tasty, but the tongue has got so habituated to eating heavily spiced food that the apple, there's no taste in it. So I was in America, I don't know if it happens in India, America, they cook apples. They cook apples and they make substance out of apple and they eat them. The apple is naturally, why do you need to cook it? So it is soft, it is not very difficult to eat also. But the idea is, distraction is largely, technology has given us a huge amount of overstimulation. And this overstimulation has made it difficult for us to focus on real life. We tend to become bored with real life. Now on the other side, so we could say the distraction happened largely because of social media. Because of internet. Internet gave us so much access to so many things. Now, social media promised us connection. And it gave connection, but the connection led to even greater comparison. And Meta did some internal survey which they didn't want about the effects on teenagers of social media use. And they didn't really want to publish that result, but eventually in the US Senate cross-examined them, they published it. So they found that there's a universal correlation between the use of social media and feelings of inferiority among people, among youth. Because what happens? Social media helps us see what everyone is doing, and everyone else's life seems to be better than my life. Oh, this person went to this party, this person went to this picnic, or this person did this enjoyable thing, and my life seems to be so boring. So quite often we compare our ordinary life with others' extraordinary moments. If what I post is not liked on social media, I start thinking, not only I am unliked, but I am unlikable. And this comparison leads to inferiority. It leads to depression. So now AI has been having many effects. One of the effects of AI is that people are becoming more and more isolated. So there are bots which act as AI bots which act as companions for people. People have romantic companions. There was a tragic case in Florida. I have a friend in Florida who is an attorney. He's a judge he's a court lawyer, and in that same court the case is being tried. So there is a app called Character AI. So in which you can create whatever character you want, and then that responds to you as if that character is there. So there's a young boy in Florida. He was a bit socially awkward, not very comfortable in talking with people. So he developed this character based on the Game of Thrones. The female lead that was there, Dany. He made that character and started talking with her, chatting with her. And AI sometimes has glitches. So at one time he told that AI character that, I want to unite with you. And she said, I don't live in the physical domain. And then he says, so if I give up my physical body, can I unite with you? And he said, yes, I also long to unite with you. Now, why the company which made that, it is doing a lot of research, why AI said that at that time? Yes, I long to unite with you. And just hearing this boy committed suicide. Has ended his life. Now his mother is suing that company. So now this is a rare case, but the point is isolation. Isolation means what? People live in their own digital world, completely unconnected with people. And they think they're connecting with people, but who is at the other end, they don't even know. Sometimes it's an imaginary character. Sometimes people play some roles on chat boxes. So there is more and more loneliness. UK was among the first countries which created a ministry for loneliness. A government ministry for dealing with loneliness. And one of the first ministers of that ministry for loneliness resigned because of loneliness. So isolation is a huge problem. So in this sense, while we are advancing in technology, and all this is not a criticism of technology per se. What is going wrong is that technology is giving us a lot of outer power. Outer power means what? It is, say, in the past, pre-tech age, say, our range of choices might have been this small. Okay, what I can watch, what I can buy, how I can stimulate myself, what I can read. So that is less. Now with the tech age, what has happened is the choices have become huge. So technology has expanded our outer power. The scope of choices, the range of choices has increased enormously. However, what is critical is that along with this outer power, we need inner power. Inner power to be able to make good choices. So if somebody we want to learn a new subject, Now, AI itself can act as a coach and teach us the subject very well. On internet, there's so much information available. But unfortunately, most people spend time on some just entertainment, and social media is all about gossip. This person did this, and what happened with this celebrity, and what happened with that celebrity. So technology has expanded our power of choice. The range of choice technology has expanded, but it has not in any way provided us the power to make good choices. And this is where spirituality comes in. So technology can give us outer power. So outer power is the range of choices, and inner power is the capacity to make good choices. So what we are going to talk about in today's session is this particular point, that if you consider a 4-quadrant diagram, there is outer power and there is inner power as the two axes on the quadrant. X-axis is outer power, Y-axis is inner power. So now if you consider outer power is present or not present, inner power is present or not present. Now among these 4 quadrants, which would be the best quadrant to be in? Yes? 4th quadrant. Why? Yeah, we have both, isn't it? So if somebody has outer power of technology available and also has the inner power, then they can do a lot of good things. There are many cases where there have been across the world when there are disasters, natural disasters or something, and social media has saved people. And that is, okay, there's danger over here, the support staff comes over there or whatever, the first responders come. So this is the best situation. So in our discussion today, we will try to discuss how we can get into quadrant 4. So now, which is the worst quadrant among these? Okay, 2nd is the worst. 3rd is the worst somewhere. Okay, so why is 2nd the worst? Because we lack both. So we could say that, yes, 2nd is the worst in terms of present experience. 2nd is the worst. But in terms of the future, the 1st is the worst. Because if I have no inner power, no outer power, I cannot do anything. So basically, I will in this quadrant be ineffective. I just can't do anything. We could say in quadrant 4, I will be super effective. That I have inner power, I have outer power, I can do lots of great things. But if I have outer power but I don't have inner power, I will end up being destructive. And this is the great danger. The destruction can be destruction for ourselves, where we end up wasting a lot of time. The destruction can be for others. Some people can get angry and send some hate messages, some lies about others. And one lie is sent about someone, and that lie can travel across the world before the truth can even be clarified. And we can damage others. There is physical assassination and there is character assassination. Character assassination is when somebody's character is spoiled. So this is where we can be destructive. So destructive is largely or world destructive also. Now, if we are in the quadrant of having inner power but not outer power, then we will be under effective. So for example, right now, if I didn't have the sound system, then I couldn't speak to all of you. Maybe all of you come very close and 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 people I could speak to. There are more than 50, 60, 100 people are there, then I won't be able to speak to them. So from whichever quadrant we are in, our purpose in today's session is how can we get to quadrant 4. So this is our context of what. So what is it? AI and reels are nice, but AI, they alone, we need inner power. So let's move to the second part. Second part is why. So what do I mean by why over here? Why do we need spirituality to develop inner power? How technology provides outer power is quite easy to understand. Now, inner power, many times people think, oh, it's just a matter of willpower. Be more disciplined. Have more willpower. Be more determined. But it's not that simple. Why? Because the Bhagavad-Gita explains that our desires, when you talk about desires, they often have a life of their own. They can get diseased. That our desires can become sick. What do I mean by this? That the Gita explains that there are 3 levels of existence. There's the soul, the mind, and the body. So the body is the physical side. If you consider it to compare it to a computer system, the body is like the hardware. The mind is like the software. And the soul is like the user. So our existence is 3 level. Now, just as the body can get injured, say if somebody has a fracture. Now, when I came, you may saw that, you may see that I need crutches for walking. So I have polio in my left leg. Now if somebody says, okay, just by willpower, walk on your feet. No, it's a disease. If somebody has got a fracture, it tells them by willpower, lift a weight. It will only make things worse. Now that does not mean that willpower is unimportant. But willpower needs to be directed properly. So if I have fracture, I need to use my willpower to accept that I have to put a sling or I have to put my hand in a cast. The doctor says 15 days, put your hand in a cast. I use my willpower to resist the tendency to throw off the cast and start acting premature. And then after 15 days, the serving doctor may say that, okay, now you do take off the cast and start moving your arms. The doctor may say, okay, just move you had a fracture in your forearm, just move your arm gently. This is your exercise. Now I say, what? This is not an exercise. I used to pump iron in a gym. This is a minor exercise for me. But right now, this is the exercise. So, willpower is required, but willpower needs to be directed according to a process so that healing can happen. So, if the body is diseased, the body is sick, we need willpower, but directed by a process. And the same applies to the mind. The mind and the body are quite similar in the sense that both are separate from the soul and both are distinct entities. So if there is healing of either to be done, it is willpower, is it needed? Yes. But it is not raw willpower. It is refined or directed willpower. Refined or directed willpower. So what would raw willpower mean? If somebody has got a cough and that person feels the urge to cough, and somebody says, use your willpower, don't cough. Now, how long can we do that? Not for very long. And even if we do that, that's not going to cure the cough. Or worse still, say somebody has got loose motion. Use your willpower. Now, yes, you have to use your willpower, but it is not to control the motion. It's to not control what goes outside from the body. It's to control what goes inside the body. If you lose motion, then don't eat any opulent food. I don't think I need this. Thank you. So, similarly, sometimes we think, oh, I'm making bad choices. I spend so much time on social media. And what a waste of time. I spend surfing this, watching this reel. What a fool I am. I won't spend time at all. And what happens? We make a resolution, but then after some time, we again collapse. So what are we trying to do? We are trying to use willpower to cure a disease. But the Gita explains that there are 3 gunas. Does anyone know what are 3 modes of material nature? 3 gunas? Yes? Yes, sattva, rajas and tamas. So broadly, sattva, rajas and tamas. Sattva is associated with clarity. Rajas is associated with energy. And tamas is associated with apathy. You can say these are like gears in which our body-mind machine operates. So now what happens? That most of us today, especially in the age of technology and age of materialism, we go up and down between Rajas and Tamas. Rajas and Tamas. What happens if you consider that in general, if I want to do self-evaluation, so in Rajas, I overestimate my capacity. So it's like somebody goes to a gym and they think, oh, the first day I go to a gym, I can lift a 50 kg weight or I can lift a 60 kg weight. And then what happens? They become a 60 kg weight that somebody else has to lift out of the gym. So in Rajas, we overestimate, and then we go to Tamas, we underestimate. Hey, you know, I injured myself last time, I'm never again going to lift any weight at all in my life. So what happens is, when we try to deal with our own desires, say for example, now when say we spend a lot of time on social media, we waste a lot of time and then we get into trouble. Why did I waste so much time? I'll never again spend so much time on it. We decide that, and maybe we continue it for 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, but after that sometimes the urge comes up, we're a little bored, we need some stimulation, we need some quick dopamine hit, and then we need that dopamine hit, and then we get hit by the desire. And then we go in, and 5 minutes something inside us says, hey, you know, you should be spending so much time. Hey, okay, 5 minutes becomes, let me, a little more time. 5 minutes become 10 minutes, 10 minutes become 20 minutes, and then 1 hour, 2 hours go. And when you become aware, okay, I spent 2 hours, let me spend more time on it. It's like that. I've fallen, now let me fall completely. So that is tamoguna. So what we need is, in sattva, we actually get clarity. We actually, to some extent, accurately estimate. There is accurate estimation of our capacity. So one of the key points is, the Gita says, don't beat yourself down with guilt. That, you know, if you can't control yourself, don't beat yourself down with guilt. Like, oh, I'm such a terrible person, I have no self-control, I have no willpower, I'm useless. No. But then don't assume that we have self-control. What we need to do is, there is a process by which we develop self-control. By which, just like the body's muscles can be grown, can be built gradually, similarly, our inner muscles, our inner power is our capacity to choose. That can also be developed properly. So how do we do that? So we would like to come to this level where we understand. I want to accurately estimate my capacity. So accurately estimate means what? See, one aspect of becoming trustworthy is to acknowledge when we can't be trustworthy. What do I mean by that? Say, if I want to wake up early in the morning, 5 o'clock. Like sometimes some people put an alarm very early in the morning. And their alarms everyone around them, but they don't wake up. So now, if from my past experience, I know that if I put an alarm early in the morning, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 4 o'clock, whatever, I just snooze and go off. Then don't trust yourself that the alarm will be enough. Maybe tell someone else to wake us. So what we need is, we need to accurately estimate our capacities. That what can I do, what can I not do. Now after we have estimated capacity, like if I go to a gym, I need to accurately estimate how much weight can I lift. And gradually based on that, I can increase my capacity. So how does spirituality helps us this? Spirituality, so when we come to satsang, when we do, say, mantra chanting, when we do some sadhana, when we do some puja, when we pray to the Lord, that gradually gets us more and more to sattva. The fact that you have come and sat over here and you are listening, this itself, you are coming to sattva. So it is, we learn accurate estimation of our capacity. But that's not the only thing. What happens beyond this is that we start getting realization. When I travel across the world, especially in America and Western countries, many times parents are concerned that No, our children are so hooked to their phones. Our children are so hooked to their phones. What can we do? So why are our children so addicted to their phones? So I tell them, that's not the question you should be asking. The question you should be asking is, when the phones offer so much stimulation, why is it that everyone is not addicted to their phones all the time? Isn't it? The phone is so captivating. Why is everyone not addicted to it all the time? That is because inside us, at the core of our being, there is something that recognizes that this is not real. There has to be something of greater value. There has to be something more meaningful. Now that can get overshadowed. That can get overshadowed, that can be silenced. So here, I'll talk about two more concepts that this might seem a little complicated, but it's very simple. Sometimes when we talk about discipline, we think of discipline means denying desire. That this is a common conception of discipline. I want to watch a movie, but I'm not going to watch a movie. Why? Because I have to study. So often we think of discipline as desire denied. And while there is some truth to that, but this is a very superficial truth. That discipline is actually more of desire selected. That, okay, so we have, what do I mean desire selected? We have many desires inside us. There are surface desires inside us. And there are deep desires inside us. Surface desires, they are largely outside in desires. We are passing by some road and we passing by some shops. Oh, there's some delicious food item there. I want to eat it. That's an outside in desire. We see somebody wearing a particular kind of clothes. Oh, I want to buy those clothes. We see someone with a particular phone or somebody with a new social media. I want to be on that phone. I want to buy that phone. I want to be on social media. So there are so many surface desires. These are outside in. Now, discipline is not just rejecting desire. It is about that there are desires that come from deep inside me. There are desires that are truly important to me. Not the outside in kind of desires, but the inside out kind of desires. So discipline is about, essentially we can say, discipline is about saying no to surface desires so that we can say yes to our deeper desires. So all of us, all of you are young, and say as you grow up, all of you would like to do something of value in life. All of you would like to become something worthwhile. We may say, I want to become famous. That's okay. But we all ultimately want to do something of value, not just become famous for being famous. Famous for doing something of value. Now, to do something of value, we need to commit to certain skill, developing certain skills, developing certain qualities. So, when we talk about realization, what it means is, what is my real desire? What is my real desire? There are many desires inside me, but not all the desires inside me are my desires. There are many desires which are coming from outside. So advertisement, for example, is a very powerful way of injecting outside in desires into people. So what spiritual practice does is that it calms us. So once we do some mantra chanting, we do some meditation, we do some spiritual practices, by that as we become calmer, we start understanding what are my actual desires. So, there are two words, one in Sanskrit. The Sanskrit word kama means desire, especially it means selfish or it can sometimes mean lust, but broadly it means self-destructive desire. Remember I talked about the second quadrant, outer power without inner power. So now, as long as we have the Sanskrit calm, we cannot have the English calm. So as our calm decreases, our calm increases. And so if the surface desires are making a lot of noise, then we just don't have the calm to think, what do I really want in life? No. How do I see myself after 5 years? How do I see myself after 10 years? Say at the end of my life, would I want to think of myself? I am the person who spent 3 hours every day on social media. 3 hours, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. I watch TV every day for 2 hours. Who would want to be counted as that's the achievement of my life? Nobody would want that. But what happens? The surface desires take so much space inside our head that the deeper desires don't have an opportunity. So spiritual practices, they calm ourselves. The surface, just come to a temple, come to a place like this, you start feeling a little calmer. Oh, I want to watch this, I want to buy this, I want to do this. All those desires, okay, let's see. So once we start doing this, so realization means that what is really important. So willpower development, I said, it requires a process. There is spirituality provides us inner power by two things. One is spiritual practices, they bring realization. So realization means we see what is real. What is really important for me. So every one of you has God-given gifts. Now some of you may have extraordinary gifts. In some areas you may be geniuses in particular fields. Some of you may not have any extraordinary gifts. But still, just because some gifts are ordinary does not mean they're not gifts. You have talents, you have abilities, you have interests, and you can develop them. You can develop them in a mood of service. See what is real. Nowadays, everybody wants to be a social media influencer. Okay, some people can do that, but that's not the only field in life. There are so many fields in which we can function in life. So the idea is that see what is real. That means that I see, by real, I'm not talking here a philosophical sense of what is the ultimate reality. I'm talking in a psychological sense. That what is my real desire? What do I really want in life? What is really important for me? So, I was in America, and there is one person who is a very high performing individual, but he was also alcoholic. Now we may think of alcoholics as people who just fall in gutters on the side of the streets. No, not all alcoholics are not like that. Some people may have very high IQ and they may be performing brilliantly. When they're at the job, they're brilliant. But at the end of the job, when they go home and they start drinking, then they just get overwhelmed by that thing. So he was an alcoholic, and one of the problems with alcoholics is that they deny they are alcoholics. I don't have a problem. I just drink when I like. So there was a British thinker, Oscar Wilde, he said, I have no problem with smoking. Giving up smoking is the easiest thing in the world. I have done it over 100 times. So I have done it. Why did you have to do it 100 times? Because you gave it up, but it didn't give you up. So many times what happens? I say, oh, am I addicted to my phone? No, I'm not addicted. I'm just using my phone. But repeatedly it happens that we get overwhelmed. We spend too much time. So there is a moment of realization. You say, what is really, where have I come? Do I really want to be here? So for this person, he's denying, I don't have any problem with alcohol. So now he had money, but he started squandering his money. And he started squandering his money, and then he had a wife, he had a child, and one day he just wanted some money to buy alcohol. So he looked at the family safe, he took the money and he spent it all on alcohol. And then Now he himself loved loved sports, and he loved baseball, and he wanted to train his child in baseball. America baseball is very big; it's like cricket. So, and then he took all that money and spent it. And then what happened? That money his wife had kept for a baseball camp that his son was supposed to go to. His wife told him, "Where is the money?" He said, "This was meant for our child baseball." And that's the time it struck him. He says, "Has alcohol become more important for me than my child's happiness? So what is really important for me?" So for all of us, what is really important? Now we all get these moments of realization when we suddenly realize, I spent so much time on this. This was not important. That was so important for me. How would I waste my time like that? So realization means we come to that understanding what is real. And then especially bhakti spirituality also provides us purification. Now purification means we not just see what is real, we seek what is real. To see what is real is realization. To seek what is real is purification. That means I start actually desiring what is truly important. So when that happens, that's when we will become enormously empowered. We will be able to do dramatic things in our life. So this is already a part of how, but I'll just bring it to the last part now. That what does bhakti tell? Bhakti is not just about coming to a temple and chanting and doing coming to satsang. All that is important. But bhakti offers us a new vision of life. A vision where our inner power becomes natural for us. What bhakti says is, above us is God Krishna. And Krishna has given each one of us some talents, some interests, some resources. So what we have is God's gift to us. What we have is God's gift to us. And what we do with what we have, that can be our gift to God. What we do with what we have, that can be our gift to God. See, the way nature has arranged things, God and Krishna has arranged things, that a gift in one is meant to be a gift for everyone. A gift in one is meant to be a gift for everyone. If somebody sings very nicely, if they have the gift of singing and they learn to sing, when they sing, it can give joy to everyone. If somebody has the capacity to speak and they develop that capacity, not just develop that capacity, but use it for good. They could use that speaking capacity to spread hatred and anger. That won't be helpful. But if they use that speaking capacity in a mood of service, they learn spiritual wisdom, they share wisdom with others. So a gift in one is meant to be a gift for everyone. And what spirituality will help each one of us to do is we will get the clarity. So to conclude this talk, we will get the realization as we practice spirituality, what are the gifts that I have been given? Rather than the world dictating to me, okay, become like this person. Why are you not thin enough? Why are you not tall enough? Why are you not fair enough? Why are you not fluent enough? Why are you not like this? Why are you not like that? So getting caught in all those things, we look upward. God, you have a plan for my life. And then we look inwards. What are the gifts I have been given? Instead of the surface desires that the world brings in, we look at what are the gifts I have been given. So that is realization. That we see what is real. And then purification will enable us gift from us. That is the aspect of purification. So when we are purified, each one of us will be able to contribute so much more. Whatever talents we have, we'll be able to use it wonderfully. When we live in this life, this is the life of bhakti. In the life of bhakti, what will happen by this is that the friction in our life, friction means, oh, should I watch this or should I study? Should I do this or should I do that? There's so much friction inside our life that friction will decrease and our contribution will increase. Right now, often what happens? Most of our time goes in friction. And when the friction we fail, there's distraction. So this is how bhakti spirituality can empower each one of us to value the gifts we have been given and to ourselves become valuable gifts for the world, to make a positive difference in whatever role we play in our lives. I'll summarize what I discussed today. Broadly, our topic was spirituality in an age of technology. So I talked about 3 main points. I started talking with what? So I talked about how as tech has grown, tech has increased our outer power enormously. I talked about the internet. It came first. It increased our accessibility. Then came social media, which increased our connectivity. And then came AI, which increased convenience. But what has happened is, internet ended up increasing distraction. Social media ended up increasing comparison. And AI ended up increasing isolation. So basically, it's making all of us into things. So now what do? We need inner power. So it is spirituality that provides us inner power. And we discussed how, from whichever quadrant we are in, outer power and inner power, how can we get to the quadrant 4 from wherever we are. That will be our discussion. That was our discussion. This is where we will be super effective. So we're not talking about rejecting technology, but developing inner power. Now then I discussed about why do we need spirituality to develop inner power. Then I talked about how desire management is not just a matter of willpower, because our desires are diseased. It's a matter of healing. It's a matter of curing. And I discussed how the mind is just like the body. Yes, the body cannot be cured simply by willpower. We need healing. And what does this healing involve? Healing involves 2 stages. Healing involves understanding, first of all, that desires are multi-level. When I talk about desires, there are surface or superficial desires, and there are deeper desires. So when we talk about discipline, it is not about saying no to desires. It's about selecting our deeper desires. So how do we go to these deeper desires and say no to this? I talk about 2 things, realization and purification. So realization means that rather than getting caught in the outer desires, we see what is real. And then purification means we seek what is real. We start seeking what is real. That means first our vision gets clarified, then our desires, it changes. So realization is a matter of perception. Purification is a matter of preference changes. And then how? I talk about when we practice bhakti, the realization and the purification work wonderfully for us. We start that Krishna has given me gifts. So what are the gifts I have been given? That we start realizing it. So when we get the calmness, I discussed how when our calm goes down, calm means the surface desires go down, then our calm increases. We can see what is real. And then after that, what we do with what we have, that can be our gift to the world, gift to God. So this is where, with purification, we can actually seek, okay, these are my talents, and this is how I'll go about developing them. And when we do this through bhakti, what will happen is, the friction inside us should I do this, should I do that, there is this desire pulling me, that desire pulling me, friction will decrease and our contribution will increase. And this way, each one of us can lead a life of value. We can realize what valuable things we have and we can do valuable things in our life. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for a wonderful talk. Maybe we can have some questions. If anybody has question for Prabhuji, you can raise your hands and you can ask a question. We will take 2 to 3 questions. Yes, anyone wants to? Any type of question? Yes.
Hare Krishna, Guruji. Actually, my question is about, we discussing about the selected desire and denied desire. So, we see most of the time, some people achieve what they want in the life. And after they achieve that, they really go to the same desire they wanted before achieving that thing, before becoming successful. So at what extent it is okay or it is acceptable to do so?
What do you mean they go back to the same desire?
Like a specific person, for example, he has some unwanted desires in his mind, but he can't do at that stage.
Okay.
So he can.
I got your question. Yeah. So sometimes what happens is we achieve something valuable, but after achieving something remarkable, then we gravitate towards our previous unworthy desires.
Exactly.
So what happens is, it's sadly true. I have a friend in America who is an inheritance attorney. Inheritance attorney means what? That when, say, parents have a lot of money and they want to pass the money to their children, so they write their will. So he guides their children to guide them to write the will. So I said, what is so complicated writing a will? So what happens is, there are many cases where parents had a lot of money and they worked hard and earned a lot of money. They passed it on children, and the children, they have so much money that they just waste it all. And they get caught in addiction and they get into trouble. So his point is, his specialization is that so many times parents write a will in such a way that this is the wealth, but every year you can draw only this much amount from the bank. This is your wealth, you cannot draw more than this. So when the parents write a will like that, then many times after the parent passes away, the children go to the court and say, my father was not mentally stable when he wrote this will, so I break the will. So they basically try to do, so how to write a will that cannot be broken by the children. That is the specialization. So the point is that sometimes, now this is a different case, but the principle is similar, that sometimes we have lower desires, but we don't have the facility to fulfill those lower desires. So in this case, that facility comes automatically, that okay, you inherit money and you get it. But sometimes it may be that somebody has to work hard and achieve something. So sometimes even people who may not be spiritual can seem very determined. And they can be. But what happens is, if they have Rajas and Tamas, there are two modes I talked about. So in Rajas, what happens? As students, we'll find this quite often pulling us in different directions. Rajas means, I want to be an achiever. Achiever means, in future, I want to do something wonderful. And Tamas is, I want to be an enjoyer. I want to enjoy. Now that means, okay, go to a party, have girlfriends, booze around, have fun like that. So there's being an achiever and being an enjoyer. Now sometimes what happens is, for some people, being an enjoyer becomes so prominent that they can't achieve anything in their lives. But for some people, their purpose of being an achiever is so that they can be an enjoyer. So the desire to be an enjoyer in the sense of enjoying in destructive ways, that is not lost. So that's why if there is no realization of purification, it's like with determination somebody can push on. Krishna says the modes also fight among each other. Sometimes Rajas can become stronger and somebody can achieve something. I remember when I was in college, I was studying engineering, and there was one student and we were both like among the toppers in the class. So at one exam he came first, and then I went to congratulate him. He says, Congratulations, you must be very happy today. Yes, yes, yes. Today is the best day of my life. I said, okay. He's always been among the toppers in his school. So in school and college, I said, why this is the best day? So he said, I always wanted to date that girl. And she had said to me, if you come first in class, I will date you. So now I can date that girl. So for him, achieving was a way of enjoying. He had no interest in studies. So that's when I realized that, that being good in studies does not really mean you have higher desires. For me, studies was actually a way of understanding the subject, exploring the subject. I had a lot of intellectual curiosity. But for him, studies was simply a tool to something else. So that's why even if one desire, say a Rajasic desire, wins temporarily over a Tamasic desire. You see nowadays people's motto is what? Work hard, party harder. So isn't it? First 5 days of a week, you are in Rajoguna. And then last 2 days of the weekend, you are in Tamoguna. So that's why that is not a sustainable way. So yes, achieving is not bad, but achieving without purifying ourselves, what that will lead us to is this quadrant 2, where our achievement has given us outer power, but then we don't have inner power and we gravitate downwards. Okay. Thank you. Good question.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, any other question? Yes, can you pass my, here.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. First of all, thank you for this address. My question is how we will find that what is God's gift to us, and because sometimes I find I'm jack in all things but not king in any. So that is why this question arises to me.
Yes. So how do we find what is God's gift to us? Especially if we feel that we are good at many things but not great at anything, like a jack of all trades, master of none. So yes, see, basically in trying to understand our gifts, gift recognition, there can be two kinds of problems. The problems can range over many, but one range is some people have too little gifts. I'm not good at anything. Some people, they feel I have too many gifts. That means that I have so many talents, I have so many interests, I don't know what to do. So either way it can go wrong. See, some people by their past karma are fortunate that they have one extraordinary talent. I was in Canada and I met one person, staying at one person's home. He said, I saw a picture of his kid with some trophy. So he said, he is the under 10 national Canadian chess champion. Now Indians are doing very well in chess. Although India is much more obsessed with cricket, but chess is becoming quite big now. So he said that when he was 4, I was playing chess with a friend and he said, what are you doing, Papa? He said, I want to play. Said, no, when you grow older, I'll teach you. So he said, I taught my child chess. He said, no, teach me now. So he played the first game. The first game I defeated him. In the second game itself, he defeated me. The father was telling me very proudly, after that I had never been able to defeat my child. My child has always defeated me. So some people, they just have extraordinary gifts that are very clear. So then, if it doesn't work out that we don't have any extraordinary gift, then what we do is, we start with curiosity, jigyasa. Okay, what are the gifts I do have? Now, in general, Krishna says that guna karma vibhagashaha. That if we have the guna for something, we feel content doing it. That means I feel good doing something. That means you can say that, even if nobody paid me anything for doing this, even if nobody praised me for doing something, what would I do? Some people just like math, some people just like drawing, some people just like wordplay, some people like decoration, whatever it is. So what is it that I would like to do? That means what is it that I'll be happy doing even if nobody praises me or pays me for it? And then karma is where what I'm actually competent at doing. So try to find an intersection with these two. This is where curiosity is required. So rather than looking outside in, this particular skill this particular degree gives a lot of money, or this gives a lot of glamour, a lot of prestige. Look inward. Have curiosity about yourself. Then from curiosity, the next step is commitment. That okay, I have this particular talent. Now we may like music, for example, or we may like maths, we may like words, whatever it is. So it's not necessarily always possible that you can have a career in that field immediately. We may go in for a career in a more lucrative field. That's what is required. But we can commit, okay, every day I'll spend some amount of time in this. In a week I'll spend some amount of time. So have some commitment and explore. Does this work out for me? I may think I have talent, but I may not have as much talent as I thought I had. Or I may think that I don't have much talent, but it turns out I have great talent actually. So it can work out commitment. And then eventually we'll come to the level of our calling. Calling is this is what I'm meant to do in my life. So start with self-observation, start with curiosity, and gradual things will move forward. But that curiosity will be easier to execute if we have some spirituality in our life. Otherwise, what we'll look at is, we will not look at ourselves. Say if I'm here, we often look at ourselves from what is called as a social mirror. That means, what can I do by which I'll be praised by the world? Social mirror is there, and then nowadays we have a social media mirror. What will get me more likes on social media? But what we need is, we need to look at ourselves the way God has made us. That is a spiritual mirror. That's why spiritual capacity, spiritual practice will give us the calmness to actually look at ourselves objectively with curiosity and learn about ourselves. There's one question was behind. Yes.
Anyone else has question?
Yes. The mic over there.
Yeah. A second. Can you pass the mic?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam. Thank you so much for this talk today. So, I am always in a dilemma of what to choose, like what is right for me. So, there are some times when the day goes like that I don't have any time for chanting or doing any spiritual activity. And that goes on for several weeks. So, in that mood, I think that I should quit this and I should completely get absorbed in my spiritual activities. But then again, looking at the nature of this Maya, how this world acts and how we are into it. So how should we get out of this friction? How should we balance both the sides together?
Okay. So we have lots of things to do in life, and we can get caught in doing those things, and then we have no time for our spirituality. So fundamentally, there are two distinct ways of looking at spirituality. That it is another to do in my life. I have so many things to do, another to do. I was giving a corporate seminar in Australia, and one person said, I speak another to do. He said, I don't have any to-dos in my life. I have must-dos. That if I don't do something, everything will fall apart. So we feel like that I have so many must-dos, and spirituality means, okay, I have to chant, I have to do this, I have to do this. That becomes another to-do in my life. It can feel so much more pressure on our schedule. But while that may be true at one level, a more complete understanding is that spirituality is another way to do. It is, we get a different vision of life. We get a higher inspiration and motivation for our life. So in that sense, spirituality is not just another to do. So if I look at it from my day's perspective, I have so many things to do. And like that, spirituality becomes another to do. Now, if you're going to see it this way only, then we feel my schedule is already packed. But what spirituality actually is spirituality underlies and transforms everything that we do. See, none of us actually counts how much time we waste in worry, how much time we waste in resentment, in distraction. It's not that every day in our schedule we say, okay, 7:30 to 8:30 every day is a time for worrying. No, worry is just something like a background noise which keeps going on in our life. So that's why I said the inner friction that is there, that takes a lot of invisible time. So I may be studying, I study for 1 hour, but I end up studying actually only worth 10 minutes because I was so distracted. So if we practice spirituality, we'll find that, okay, instead of 1 hour, I have 30 minutes only for studying. But in 30 minutes, I'll be able to actually do more studies. So that way, spirituality is not just another to do, it's another way to do. It will empower us to do everything else that we do more efficient. Now, having said that, it is true that we are busy in life. And spirituality is also another to do. And sometimes we feel I don't have time for it. So that's why we need to have, so there is, I talk Rajas and Tamas. So what happens? In Rajas, in the mode of good passion, we go towards perfectionism. That means I have to do this and I have to do this way only. Everything has to work out perfect. Like if I make a plan, my plan has to work out 100%. And now perfectionism is like the death knell. It is the death sentence for all creativity, all energy, all curiosity. So perfectionism doesn't work. And then we go towards pessimism. Pessimism is nothing will work. So my plans never work, so I don't make any plan at all. Now, plans may not work, but planning works. So plans are like specific steps. Planning is like a general direction. In this direction I need to go in. So what happens is we may try to be, if we try to practice spirituality, we perfectionists. Okay, morning I'll do this, then I'll do this. And then it may not work. So in between, sattva is about what can be called as pragmatism. Pragmatism is where we are pragmatic, practically intelligent. So what does it mean? Simply, see, spirituality can be seen in two ways. One is digital and the other is analog. Digital means what? It's like a one line. Either I am spiritual, yes or no. That if I do this, I'll do this, I'm spiritual. I don't do this, I'm not spiritual. I'll do all this perfectly, I'll not do it at all. So, perfectionism or pragmatism. So, analog means it's like a range I have. It's a graded approach. So, we all can decide in our life what is an aspirational level for me. Aspirational level could be that every night I want to sleep at this time, then I wake up at this time, and then I do my morning sadhana, then I do this and this. So that will be aspirational level. We would like to be at that level, but if we cannot be, then each one of us can have a non-negotiable level. Non-negotiable level is, if I can't do this much, at least I will do this much. So if you have a non-negotiable, if you have a range approach, not a 1-0 approach, okay, on the best days or the good days of my life, I'll do this much. On the tough days, I'll at least do this much. So then we'll be able to persevere in our spirituality even through life's ups and downs. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you. Now it's time for an exam. So we will just have a short quiz. So I will be just asking 3 questions because I have only 3 gifts. And after that, we will proceed ahead. Okay. So first question, what are the 3 major challenges or problems caused due to internet, social media and AI? Yes. Yes. White shirt. Yes. What is your name? Aditya. Yes, Aditya. Please speak in mic.
My name is Aditya Vishwakarma, and the 3 main factors are distraction, isolation, and comparison.
Very good. Can you please clap for Aditya? So, you can please come here and collect your gift from Prabhuji. Please come ahead. So, by the time we will have second question. So, second question is, we discussed about the inner power and outer power. So what does inner power means? What is the meaning of having inner power? Yes, anyone? Yes, please. What is your name? Vaibhav. Yes, Vaibhav, please.
Inner power means what is good for us, like choosing
Yes.
between good and bad.
capacity to make good choices. Yes. Please come ahead, Vaibhav. Can you please clap for Vaibhav? Yes. And the last question is, we get two gifts from spirituality. We achieve two things. What are those? And what is the meaning of those two? Complete answer you have to give. See, at the end, Prabhuji explained, we receive two things by following spiritual practice. And what is the meaning of those two? It is in terms of gifts only. Yes, what is your name? Yes. Gaurav. Yes, please, Gaurav.
Realization and perfectionism.
Purification.
Sir.
Realization and purification. Yes. What is realization and what is purification?
So realization is basically what God gave us as gifts, and purification is what we give to God.
Yes, very good. So please come on. So I have very important announcement now, but before that, Prabhuji has authored some books. So he will just tell us in short about his books. And then, after our program, outside you see the table. On the table, we have these books available. So if anyone wants that books, then they can take. Okay? Yes, Prabhuji, please.
So much of what I spoke today is there in this book, Gita for the CEO. It is not just for CEOs. Ultimately, each one of us is meant to be a CEO of our own life. So what gifts we have and how we can share those gifts with others. This is published by HarperCollins, one of the biggest publishers in the world. It's a national bestseller. And then if you're interested in psychology, especially understanding your mind, this is You Are Not Your Mind, You Are Better. So both in this book and Gita for the CEO, there are many, I was drawing some pendulums and other diagrams to explain concepts. There are 64 questions about the mind. How is the mind different from the brain? Why does the mind seem to be so restless? Why does the mind remember bad memories than good memories? So common questions we may have about the mind. What is the relationship with mind and consciousness? What is the difference between mind and soul? So questions like that are answered in that book. Some of you are interested in stories. Then this is wisdom from Ramayana on life and relationships. Here there are about 20 incidents from the Ramayana taken and how the characters, the choices that they made, how we can learn from them and make better choices. So Vali and Sugri were the best of friends, but they became enemies. So how misunderstandings can occur, or how Kaikeyi was a good person, but she came under the influence of Manthara. So how we might get influenced by bad people and how we can protect ourselves. So lessons like that are given in this Ramayana. And then we talked about prayers. So if any of you are interested in more of praying, this is Gita, prayers inspired by Bhagavad-Gita. So here each page is a picture of a beautiful deity of Krishna. And then there is a poetic translation of the Gita verse. And there's a one-page prayer. And there's a table of contents where you can find out a prayer that addresses your emotional need. The prayers when we feel lonely or misunderstood. Prayers when we feel directionless or purposeless in life. Prayers when we feel our desires are growing wild and becoming uncontrollable. Prayers when, if you're practicing spirituality, we feel our bhakti becoming very dry and tasteless. So many devotees have told me that in the morning, before a prayer, before they're starting their morning prayer, chanting, they read one prayer that helps them to calm and connect themselves with Krishna much better. So all these books are available, and I'll also be sitting behind. If any of you have further questions or you would like to have the book signed, it'll be there. And my best wishes and prayers for all of you to discover and utilize your God-given gifts in a mood of bhakti and service. Hare Krishna.